It just does not stop, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome to Stories Written by a Current Prisoner with your boy Tony, man. You guys already know, your favorite journalist, bringing you exclusive stories directly from the inside of these prison walls. If you haven't already, man, please hit that subscribe button. If this is your second, third time around the rodeo, man, you guys already know the routine, man. Do me a solid and hit that like button, man. Support your boy, man. I'm not one of those, those little street vendors or one of those dudes right down the sidewalk playing with the guitar, with with the little bucket on the side, man. Show some love. Show some love, man. I hope you guys had a fabulous Thanksgiving, man. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it, man. These are real stories from people who are really serving life from the inside of these California prison walls. However, we are currently looking to expand in other states, man. So there's going to be a hell of a lot of new guests, a hell of a lot of new faces. And ladies and gentlemen, be expecting some different states. With that being said, let's go ahead and move forward, man. Thank you for showing some love, and thank you for stopping by.
So what do they call you?
Oh, wow. Okay, so they call me Sad Girl.
What are you incarcerated for, and how long is your sentence?
So I'm incarcerated for conspiracy to commit attempted murder, and I got sentenced to 29 to life.
Where are you from out here on the streets?
From Ontario, California.
Do you or did you belong to any type of gangs, groups, organizations?
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I did. It's the south side of Ontario, Black Angels.
So why do they call you Sad Girl?
So I also come from a family members of also who were gang members. My mom's nickname was Crybaby. I refused to be called Crybaby. So growing up, a lot of people know that I just have like this look of sad all the time, so they just went ahead and called me Sad Girl.
So you mentioned that you come from a family of gang members. Your mom was a gang member. Was your father a gang member?
Yes.
He was also from Ontario?
Yeah, and they're both from Ontario.
While you were growing up, did you have an idea that they were involved in that lifestyle, or did you just see it as normal, like you had no clue?
As growing up, I ended up being raised by my grandparents. My mom ended up taking a gang over us and ended up incarcerated. Unfortunately, I don't know nothing about my father, but know everybody else about my father. Like my uncles and my grandma, I know everybody else but him. So I never really seen the activities, but I know as growing up, the choices that they made.
Right around what ages did they kind of disappear? Where they weren't so much around.
Okay, so I never met my father, so I'm assuming the minute I was like born, he just went on about his way. My mother, I was 3 years old when she got incarcerated. Due to that, I went into depression as a child and was hospitalized for 3 months for the whole feeling of abandonment, neglect. Like, I guess it took a toll on me. And I think that's what kind of made me go into the gang life. Like, I never really grew up with this scene, like, growing up, but because knowing that that's what both of my parents were in, trying to establish a relationship with them of a common ground to have that common thing that we could connect on, made me made me join into the gang so that way I could build relationships off of something,
And how was it like for you? Like, right around where you grew up, there was gang members on your street, or did you meet them at school? And
so yeah, where I grew up at, there was gang everywhere. Like grew up on the north side of Ontario, but I knew like all my friends were gang members or the families were gang members. Like in elementary school, I remember. As I hit junior high is when, mind you, when I was 8 years old, my mom came out of prison. So that's how I knew my grandparents were my parents. That they were my grandparents. So then my mom came from prison and trying to get to know her. And then little by little hearing stories about her. Like, I'll overhear my grandparents arguing that they didn't want us to be alone with my mother because she was a drug addict. She did heroin. They don't know if she's done gang. So, like, I'll hear all them bickering back and forth. That kind of made me suspicious. Like, wanting to know, like, why did she do all this, you know?
Why do you think, obviously you joined your gang, and obviously I'm assuming there must have been other females that were also involved in this gang. Looking back in retrospect, now that you're a lot older, a lot more wiser, why do you think these other females joined these gangs as well?
I could speak for myself. For me, it was being not wanted, not like feeling like I'm not loved or respected, made me join my gang because it's like a family that we never had. Like, I don't feel like we all have this. A lot of us have dysfunctional family. So it's like when you don't feel like you're being loved or whatever, being accepted at home, at least that made-up family that a gang provides, which is the loyalty and all that stuff that we supposedly get from that, is what we yearn for.
Did you ever have...
Back.
No, go ahead.
What happened? No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Like, it's like that whole, like, I'm going to have your back, I'm going to be here no matter what. You know, like, we didn't really get that in our household. It's either we're beefing with our sisters or our brothers, or there's just, like, no healthy communications between parents and children, that when we speak in our games, like, we're being heard, we're being respected. You know? So that, I guess, like, you know, that attracts people who are just looking for a place of belonging.
Now, as you're getting this comfort, you're being embraced by these gang members, and that's the other side of the coin that people don't talk about. I'm sure it does feel good. To be recognized, to be embraced, to be looked at as somebody respected. However, of course, with all that comes all the negativity, all the bad stuff that could happen to you. When was the first time that you experienced something negative intended towards you or your fellow gang members due to this gang activity?
When it's just like, the first traumatic thing is when our own homeboys had killed one of our own. Is when that was kind of like, wow, I never really expected that. Like, I thought we were supposed to be looking out for each other. I thought we were supposed to be loyal to each other, respecting each other, have each other's back, not taking each other out, you know? I want to believe that was in 2000, oh my goodness, 9, 8 is when our own person was murdered by our own people.
Would you be able to elaborate on that? What happened?
So he was a big homie. He had like the say so what goes on in our neighborhood, and a youngster was yearning for that, and I believe it was more like the next person under my big homeboy was wanting to hurry up and get that seat of throne. So they took advantage of a youngster who wants to be accepted, who wants to prove himself that he's down, to manipulate him to do this act, to murder him, and he was going to be the next in command after this, the next person in chair. Do you get what I'm saying?
2 seconds remaining.
It's kind of like a situation because we're all supposed to be brothers and sisters, so it's like a lot of like when, like, even when somebody just loses a brother or sister just by some regular violence, it's like kind of like, damn, you know, we don't ever expect that to happen. So it's kind of like, it's like a devastation within amongst the family members, you know, our gang members, but it's more like a secret meeting to fix what is and get our payback, you know, like nobody else is going to know what the retaliation is going to be because it's only certain people behind that closed door. So it's more like we let the big homies take care of it, and it is what it is, you know.
Is there another situation that sticks out in your mind that somewhat affected you like deeply?
I think it's just after like that whole, you know, around that, like you said, like around that time when that big boom of men, you kind of just see certain characteristics with certain homeboys that you just see that now they're just changing because of the men, how they just got them going, how you see them when they used to be like on their top-notch shit that now they're doing shit that they would never done. So you kind of like start losing respect for certain people. Took a big part into being a gang member and altered it a lot, you know. It kind of like, like now that I look back, it's kind of like it changed the whole game. You know,
it totally did. It totally did.
It wasn't like gang back then. Like I was raised by my parents' generation. So I was raised by like the generation of the 80s, where it was about business. It was about getting our money and organizations, you know, like selling drugs and all this stuff, guns, all that stuff. Once men took over the world, pretty much, it wasn't organized. Nothing was clean anymore. Everything was so messy. Back then, growing up, I remember we only get high on the weekends, never Monday through Friday. It's about business Monday through Friday, clear mind, think straight, be on your A game. And now it's just like nobody wants to do anything but sit around and smoke.
You know, it's crazy that you mentioned that you said what year did your crime take place?
In 2011.
Yeah, see, right around those years, I remember specifically, especially in the neighborhood that I lived at, everybody was on glass. Everybody, like, seriously, even people who you didn't even think of, people who looked normal, like people who weren't involved in gangs, just everyday, normal, civilized people were on it. People at my work were on it. People in school, like everywhere you went, everybody was on it.
A lot of people, like a lot of gang members, or even people who were heroin addicts, didn't even do heroin anymore because they got introduced to meth. Like, I remember we never knew what homies got high because everything was done behind closed doors. You know? And now it's like everybody does it. And then when they started doing the whole slamming crystal, that was out in the open, like, back in the days as I was growing up, like if the homies did like black and they shot up black, they never let nobody see them. But now it's like with this whole crystal thing, everything's just so sloppy. It's just so out in the open. They don't care. Like their whole utensils are all out in front of people. Like there's no like self-respect into it. Like you lose all self-respect, all self-dignity, everything. Like
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Crystal just stripped that from everybody. The respect, the loyalty, everything. Like it just took everything away from everybody.
I'm assuming you were under the influence when your crime occurred?
Yes.
Would you mind taking us back to the time that your crime occurred and breaking it down to us exactly how it is you committed this mistake that ultimately sentenced you? You said 60 years, correct?
57. It was with 57 to life. Pretty much 60, yeah.
My goodness. And the person didn't even die, correct?
No, they didn't die. The only injuries that they got was a stab wound behind the leg, like a little nick from me fighting her, not dropping the knife, was like a little nick on the head, on the eyebrow, and on the finger. So it wasn't like no deadly injury, and like blunt force from the socking, the kicking, and everything that she endured.
So what happened? How did this whole thing take place?
So, like I said, men played a big part in everything. The lack of sleep, the hallucination, people just being paranoid in their mind. It's just everybody was assuming that Pam was talking to the police and not really getting down to the facts of everything, that we just jumped on conclusions that she was snitching. And when we asked her to come to the house to buy meth, it was really to question her, you know. And when she ended up coming to the place, none of it happened because I guess she sensed something was wrong. So she faked the miscarriage, and then the altercation, the tussle between her and my girl co-defendant, and then me jumping in, just one thing led to another where I ended up stabbing her behind her leg in with the tussle, and then we started, when she fell on the ground, me, the girl, my Crystal, and the guy's co-defendant, we were jumping her. So did she get beaten badly? Yes, she did, you know. I'm not going to lie. Yes, she did. Was it unnecessary? Now that I look at it, yes, it was, you know. It's just like unconscious decisions, you know, just going on instance like survival status, especially on drugs. You know, you it's either you or them, and then being a gang member, it's you or them. Who's it gonna be? You know.
So how did you end up getting caught for this? Like, and when were you arrested? How were you arrested?
Okay, so I ended up getting caught because when the guy Coda finished, there's two of them, they had duct tape my victim. When they lured her in the truck, these idiots stopped to get gas and didn't realize that had gotten out of her duct tape from our arms and escaped as they were pumping gas. So they jumped in the truck and they took off, and she ended up getting help from the clerk from the gas station. So I didn't know nothing of it until a whole, like almost week later, they ended up getting my girl co-defendant, arresting her. I was the last one to get arrested. I got arrested like April 3rd. And this incident happened April 22nd. May 22nd. I'm sorry, May 22nd. And like, I had just paroled, so I had went paroled to my friend's house, and excuse me, and the FBI came. Oh no, the marshals came looking for me and raided my house since I was already a parolee at large. They came and searched. Marshals came and searched my people's house, and that's how I knew that they were looking for me. But as we were leaving the scene, I already had that gut instinct in my stomach that once I get caught, this is it. Like I got sober really fast. I knew once I get arrested, like I was looking at life. Like I already knew it, you know, like.
So what did they charge you with? Like, what were the charges that they read off to you?
So it was conspiracy to commit attempted murder, kidnapping, GTA, robbery, and what was the other one? GBI. So I got the GBI stayed, the kidnapping stayed, the GTA stayed, and the robbery stayed, where I only got left with one charge, which is the conspiracy to commit attempted murder.
And they gave you all that time?
When I had all 5 charges, they gave me 57 to life. As I did my direct appeal, I got everything stayed to where I only have one charge now, which is now the conspiracy that holds 29 to life.
Oh wow! So initially, they had charged you with all of that. How did you interpret that day that you got sentenced?
You know what? The day I got sentenced is the day that I hit my knees and asked for forgiveness. That's the only way I could have accepted everything.
May I ask?
I thought it was the end of the world.
Oh my God, I can only imagine.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
How old were you when you were sentenced?
I was 26.
May I ask how your family embraced this? Your parents, did you have kids?
So, yeah, I have 3 children. So growing up, I never really had a relationship with my mother. I tried, like I stated, the whole following the footsteps thing, to have that common ground to build a relationship on. Me and my mother used to beef a lot. It unfortunately, like,
You have 60 seconds remaining.
this time was a bittersweet, so it built me and my mom a friendship, and it brought me and my mom closer together. I never was a mother to my children until I caught this time, because it made me a mother in prison. You know, like, it hurt my family, but it's a bittersweet situation, because everything that I've ever wanted growing up, the family, the support, the acceptance, I ended up getting since I got this case.